Hello babe, and welcome back to my channel.
There's something about this girl, man, from around my way. Ever try to hold back your feelings?
I just want to start off this video by saying that I absolutely love being a woman, absolutely love it. But can we just agree for a second that navigating womanhood can be tricky? Like, it could actually just be a struggle. I feel like the best way to navigate anything in life is, one, to obviously experience the things by yourself and to, have some assistance in the form of like your community. But if you don't have a community, if you don't have a big sister, like I don't have a big sister, I am the big sister, let me just tell you what's the ultimate cheat code to life: books. Books are the ultimate cheat code to life, and that is what this video is about. I have compiled a list of books that are not your typical reads. You probably haven't heard of a lot of them, but these are going to be the books that are going to put you in the top 1% of women when it comes to money, when it comes to mindset, when it comes to your ability to create, manifest. I have used these books, and these books have honestly changed my life, so it would only be right to share that with you girls. So without any further ado, if you're interested in this type of content, go ahead and subscribe, and let's get on with this video. The first book I can probably guarantee you have never heard of. It is called Shanghai Girls by Lisa C. This book was one of the first books that I kind of read about hypergamy, and it absolutely changed my life. It changed my mindset about relationships, and it's basically a book that is about how Chinese women in like the 20s would socially navigate and how they set their standards to be able to get out of China and marry these American businessmen, all of the things that they learned doing this, all the things that they did to achieve it, and a lot of these women did achieve it. And I just thought it was a very interesting read because it really gives you information from a different perspective that's not a Western perspective about social climbing, about marriage, about standards, boyfriends, relationships, all that good stuff. It really does give you a lot of information that is kind of provocative but you've never heard before, so I definitely recommend reading it. Again, it's called Shanghai Girls by Lisa C. That is my first recommendation. My second recommendation is 3 books in one. And these are 3 separate books, but they're all by the same person. The person is called Mama Gena. She is like really renowned for making provocative books just about feminine energy, reclaiming your pleasure, and relationships with men. I am currently reading one of her books called Mama Gena's Owners and Operators Manual to Men. And it's a really great book because she talks about men from the space of actually like loving men and wanting to be with men. And I think that's really important, especially in this very weird climate that we are in. But that's a great book. It's called, I'll put everything down below as well so I don't have to keep repeating it, but that's a book. And I also read 2 of her other books. One of her books is called P-Word, A Reclamation, and the other book is called Mama Gena's School of Womanly Arts. These books are great books, and I think I have a quote by one of her books that I can read to you guys. I want to read quotes to certain books that I've been recently reading just to kind of give you a little taste of the book, okay? Okay, this is a good one. I find that the hugest, grossest, choking tangle of confusion comes about when women make phenomenal assumptions about who men are, what they're thinking, and that the root of every problem is the woman's inadequacy and or the man's malice. That right there is like a bomb drop, because you guys already know that I'm very much into the law of assumption, and there it is right there in plain text. You just about navigating relationships with men. So this book is a gem, as well as all of her other books. The next book, I can pretty much guarantee that you have never heard of this book. This book is called The Circle of Feminine Power by Larisa Renar. This book is actually written by, I think she's Russian, a Russian woman, and this book is really interestingly written because she is basically the granddaughter writing about her experience of applying what her great-great-grandmother wrote about in her journal about how she navigated getting married and men in relationships. And I think her great-grandmother was also like a Russian princess or something. Really interesting book, but this book is all about like feminine archetypes, masculine archetypes, relationships, feminine energy, all of that good juicy stuff that as a woman you just need to know, and things that you just would never really just find around the internet, because it's not basic stuff. It's really, I won't say it's really hard stuff either, but it's far from basic, and it's something that I think that as a woman, if you know the type of information that is in this book, you are going to immediately up level. So that is the book that I would recommend, and it's actually translated from Russian, and I found the translation on that app that I was telling you about, Everon. I'm sure they have English translations probably on Amazon. I haven't looked. So if you're interested in stuff like that, like archetypes, feminine archetypes, that's a great book. I'm going to go ahead and read a quote from it. A man dreams to find everything in one woman: a lover, a mistress, a queen, and a girl. These are 4 basic manifestations of the feminine energy, the 4 basic states of woman. Men are at all times intuitively drawn to those who unite these different manifestations because they felt that only such a woman can raise a man, help him to find power and integrity. Only when a woman joins a man on all 4 levels is he filled with energy and is ready to accomplish anything. Only such a woman can help a man to win the world, which he will then be ready to throw at her feet. Only such a woman can help her man to reach those heights, which are his destiny. If a woman embodies all these states, she closes the circle of feminine power, and as a symbol of it, she usually gets a wedding ring as a gift. So these books, I know it sounds very traditional. I consider myself a modern traditionalist, but with anything, you don't need to follow everything 100% in order to get the benefits of it. So really just take what resonates and what makes sense to you and roll with it, okay? These books are provocative, they're a bit older, but they work. Like, this type of stuff works. So if you're interested in it, go ahead and get this book. It's a great book. Next book on my list of books that you absolutely have to read that you've probably never heard of is this book called Lady Balls by Mina Irfan. Mina Irfan is a YouTube creator. She's a course creator, and she's all around like a Renaissance woman. She's married, she has beautiful kids, she's just got all her stuff together. Again, nobody's perfect, but she creates really great content here on YouTube, and she has written a couple books this past year. One of the books is called Lady Balls, and I have not finished it, but I have the physical copy, and it's a great book. And it's actually such a great book because there's things that you can do right now that can up level yourself and that can really help you with mindset, with money, with manifestation, and with men. So that's a great book just for all around mindset, but I put it in the category of like, you know, about men and feminine energy and stuff of that nature, because I think she emphasizes that a lot, like how to really step into your feminine power. And it's a great book to read. So if you guys have not heard that book, definitely go and read it. Okay, another book that you've probably never heard of that is really provocative, but it's so good, it's life-changing, and it's more in like the spiritual kind of aspect, but it's called The Sexual Teachings of the White Tigress, and it's about female Taoist practitioner. Tao, like T-A-O, is an old Chinese belief system, Taoism. So it's called The Sexual Teachings of the White Tigress, and it's a very good book. I'm not going to reveal a lot of what it's about on here because it is very provocative, but it's a great book if you are interested in like sacred sexuality, if you're interested in just stepping more into the spiritual aspect of being a woman. That is a great book to read, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. It's a great book though. It's an amazing book. Okay, another book under this category is called Queenology by Pastor R.C. Blakes. I think he's a pastor. I think that's how you would address him, but R.C. Blakes, he actually has a YouTube channel as well. That's actually how I first found him, was here on YouTube. But he has a book that I read a couple of months ago. I finished it, and it's called Queenology, and that book is so amazing. It really truly helps you step into your worth and your value as a woman, to really recognize yourself and to stop self-sabotaging and to stop, you know, just acting like a peasant when it comes to dealing with men. It really helps you to step into that Queenology mindset. I have a quote that I want to read to you guys. A queen is a gift to a king who needs help to accomplish dominion. If a man has no intention to dominate, he does not qualify for a queen. A queen should never take a man in as a project. As powerful as a queen is, she does not have the ability to make a blind man see. This whole book is like a drop mic moment, and I love the fact that it's written by a man. I think so far every book that I have mentioned was written by a woman, but it's really good for us to get these perspectives from men as well, because I just think that it helps you find balance in your mindset when it comes to navigating relationships with men and understanding your own feminine energy. But yeah, that book is called Queenology. And the last book in this section is, drumroll please, Now, you've probably heard of this book before, but I had to mention it because it's still such an incredible book for us as women to read. It's called The Way of the Superior Man by Deida. Great book. I'm in the middle of reading it for a second time, and yes, I do read books. Like, I read books in tandem with each other, like multiple books at the same time. I don't know why I do that, I just do that. But it's a really great book, and it's basically a book written by a man for men on them navigating like their life journey, their hero's journey, uncovering their purpose, navigating women. And I think it's so important for us to get up in their business and to see what it is that they're talking about and what it is that they are learning and what they think a superior man is. Like, we have to get in there to try and understand that so that we can either agree or disagree, and that if we do agree, then we can really take the time to understand the type of men that we want to date. I don't know about you, but I want to be with the superior man, and I want to be with the man who has his purpose, who knows his calling, who is a very loving, kind, and grounded individual. And in order for me to have a great relationship with this type of man, I have to understand how that man thinks. I have to understand his qualities, like his priorities and things of that nature. And I think all around, this is a really great book for you as a woman to read. Okay, so now that we have gotten past all the books about like men, feminine energy, navigating relationships with men, now I want to get into like manifestation, mindset, and money. I'm excited about this one because these books are equally as powerful as the ones that I mentioned in the last section. So this first book, you may have heard about this book and you may not have. It just depends on what side of the internet you be on. See, a lot of people on my side of the internet that I pay attention to talk about this book, but I'm not sure if like everybody is really on it. So I gotta put you guys on. I gotta put you guys on because this book, listen, this book is another book that changed my life. I told you guys that all these books really are life-changing, so I'm gonna say that over and over again. This book is called The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence, Scovel, Shinn. This book is the one. This book is the one. A lot of people talk about Neville Goddard, and Neville Goddard has great books too. I actually have some of his books in here that you probably never heard of, but Florence is that girl. Florence is that girl. Understood how to call things into existence and how to materialize things. And when I tell you, her books are so amazing, and that was the first book of hers that I read, The Game of Life and How to Play It. Amazing book. And just to give you a little bit of like a synopsis, not even really a synopsis, but it's basically about the law of assumption, but not for real. Like, she talks about the laws of the universe in like kind of a Christian based way, but you don't have to be a Christian to read the book and to like really get value from it. But I don't really, it's hard for me to explain what it's about, but it's really about materializing your desires. I'll just leave it at that. Another book that really, it gave me a lot of context just about mindset and like mentalism. This book is called The Kybalion, and it's by the 3 Initiates. Really great book. It's like esoteric mentalism information, if I had to like describe it, but I do have a quote. These books are for my people that are into like philosophy, manifestation, things of that nature, you know? But the Hermetic teaching does not imply a real duality. The all is one. The two aspects are merely aspects of manifestation. The teaching is that the masculine principle manifested by the all stands in a way apart from the actual mental creation of the universe. It projects its will toward the feminine principle, which may be called nature, whereupon the latter begins the actual work of the evolution of the universe from simple centers of activity onto man, and then on, still higher. And that quote is actually way longer than that, and it's a very long-winded book, but if you are interested in understanding like the secrets of the universe, the Kybalion is a great book for you. This book was probably the first book that I ever read about like the law of attraction, and it's called Ask and It Is Given by Jerry and Esther Hicks. That's like an honorable mention. A lot of people have probably heard of that, but I still think it's worth a mention because it's a great book to understanding foundationally how we materialize things into our reality. It's a great book and definitely worth a read and worth you purchasing it. I actually purchased it and I feel like I let someone borrow it and they never gave it back. So yeah. Ooh, the next book is a gem, you guys. The next book is a gem, and it's called How to Really Pray by Neville Goddard. And the crazy thing about this book by Neville is that it is literally like 27 pages. but you get so much good information in this 20 pages. It's an amazing book, and it actually breaks down like how it breaks down what prayer is and what sin is, and like how to actually like pray. It's a really good book. Again, you don't have to be a Christian to read this book. It's still worth a read. So I'm gonna go ahead and read a quote from it. This is one of my favorite parts of the book, actually, because he talks about what repenting is, and I thought that was a really good book, because I think growing up in a church, like at certain points in my life, I, you know, came across the idea of repentance, and he really explains it really well here. Okay. My faith is faith in my Father. Faith in his power to externalize what I have done all in imagination. So for me, that is prayer. That is repentance. I didn't sit down and feel for one moment that I had done something that was wrong, and that's why I couldn't get out. No sense of repentance like remorse as the world teaches. That's not repentance. Repentance is simply a radical change of attitude. Drops mic. Like I said, I said 27 pages. Child, it's 13 pages. It's 13 pages. Y'all better read this book. It's so good, and there's so many amazing gems in this book. Another book that was recommended to me by a fellow YouTuber, his name is Dylan James. It's called Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Waltz. Really great book. I listened to the audiobook, so I don't have a quote, but basically Psycho-Cybernetics is all about the psychology of self-image. It's a great book to read. It really talks about how important self-concept is, and how you view yourself is, and how literally the way you view yourself affects every single aspect in your life. I think you guys will enjoy every single book on this list. If you guys are on your journey to becoming that woman, if you guys are just starting to navigate womanhood, these books are going to put you leaps and bounds over all the other girls that could care less about personal development and could care less about becoming a better person and navigating relationships in a healthy way. If you are on that journey, then these books are going to help you. Look at these books like recommendations from your big sis, okay, because I am a big sis, I don't have a big sis, and these books basically were my big sisters, okay? So before you go out in the world and make mistakes that you can avoid, read these books, get these cheat codes, and I will see you guys in the next video. Love you guys so much.
There's something about this girl, man, from around my way. Ever try to hold back your